are on our homework that says place value riddles. We are going to try to figure out what number do we have in each of these boxes. I recommend that you find a scratch paper so that we can use some of our base 10 blocks and draw it out, because we are going to be working with thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones, and we might need to use our base 10 blocks to help us, okay? I am going, if you want to use base 10 blocks, you can. Miss Ambreeze is actually going to show you a different way that I feel like is better, so we don't have to draw so much. If base 10 blocks helps you, then you do that. But I'm going to show you my way first, so I don't have to draw so many blocks, okay? Let's start with our name. I'm Miss Ambreeze. You are not. Please write your name and not my name. And today is 9/8/25. Okay, it says solve each riddle below. Record the expanded form and expanded notation for each number. All right. Well, it says I have 15 thousands, 2 hundreds, 8 tens, and 7 ones. Well, this goes to the thousands place. All right. But it says I have 15 of those. And I know that if I draw out my place value chart, I cannot have 2 digits in the same place value. So I want you to start with ones, tens, hundreds, don't forget your comma, thousands. This is going to be our 10,000s, and then our 100,000s. Okay, it says 7 ones. That's 1 digit. I'm good. I do not have to regroup. 8 tens. That's 1 digit. I do not have to regroup. 2 hundreds. That's 1 digit. I do not have to regroup. But 15 thousands? Hold on. I can't do that. I can't have 2 digits in the same place value. But what does 15 thousands blocks actually mean? Well, I know that in 15, I have a 10 and I have a 5. Well, I can make a group of 10 right here and make a 10,000. So I'm not going to write 15 in here. I'm going to write a 5, and I'm going to give my group of 10 over here. So now I have one 10,000s block. So my number is literally 15,000, but it doesn't mean 15 thousands. It means 1 10,000 and 5 thousands. 15,287. So what number am I? 15,287. All right, well, let's do expanded form. Remember, expanded form is expanding out the number using each digit's value. Well, I put each digit's value here. Let's start with our 10,000s. I have 10,000, because this 1 means 10,000. This 5 means 5,000. This 2 means 200. This 8 in the tens place means 80. And my 7 in the ones place means 7. So our expanded form, expanding out using the values, is 10,000 plus 5,000 plus 200 plus 80 plus 7. All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, expanded notation. Well, this says how many groups of 10,000 do we have? How many groups of 10,000s do we have? I see one group. One group of 10,000. How many groups of 1,000? I see 5 groups of thousands. How many groups of 100? 2. 2 groups of hundreds. 8 groups of tens. And 7 groups of ones. Good job. All right, let's look at this one. Okay. I say, I'm going to flip my paper so we have a clean side. I have 8 10,000s, 7 thousands, and 22 hundreds, 7 tens, and 5 ones. Let's start by doing that place value chart again. I have my ones, tens, hundreds, comma, which means I'm going to my thousands place. Thousands, 10,000s, and my 100,000s. I'm going to separate my place value boxes. Okay. It says 5 ones, 7 tens, 22 hundreds. But remember, Miss Ambery said up here in the first part that we couldn't have 2 digits in the same place value. We have 2 digits here. Our ones was good because 5 is just 1 digit. 7 is good for tens because that's just 1 digit. But this says 22 hundreds. Well, I know that I can't just have 22 in the hundreds place. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to break this down a little bit different, okay? I know that in 22, I can make one group of 10, that's 10. I can make another group of 10, that's 20. And then I have 2 left over. Well, if I have a group of 10, I can make 1,000. And if I have another group of 10, I can make another 1,000 because 10 hundreds is 1,000. And 10 other hundreds is another 1,000. So I'm going to give those to my thousands place. So that's 1, 2,000 plus these over here. It says 7,000s. So 7,000s, 8,000, 9,000. And this 2, I'm not leaving 22. I can't have 2 digits. I can leave 200s here though. That's okay. All right, now I'm at my 10,000s place. 8 10,000s. Well, here's the 10,000s place. It's 1 digit, so I can just leave it. This tells me that I have 89,275. So what number am I? 89,275. Expanded form. Remember, we're expanding out the numbers using each digit's value. Well, the 8 in the 10,000s place means 80,000 because it's 10,000s place. So 80,000 plus the 9 in the thousands place, which is 9,000 plus this 2. That 2 means 200 plus this 7 in the tens place. That 7 means 70 plus 5. That 5 in the ones place just means 5. All right, let's do it into expanded notation. It says 10,000s. How many groups of 10,000s? I have 8 groups of 10,000s. I have 9 groups of 1,000. I have 2 groups of 100. This says 10, so I'm looking at tens place. 7 groups of 10, and I have 5 groups of ones. All right, well, we still have this little box on the end, and we can't forget about it. It's there for a reason. Y'all like to forget it's there, but I promise you you can't forget it. You like to pretend it's not, but we still got to do it. Okay, it says, how are expanded form, so this one, and expanded notation similar? So how are they similar and how are they different? Well, I know even though we write them differently, they represent the same number, like 8 groups of 10,000, 9 groups of 1,000, 2 groups of 100, plus 7 groups of 10, plus 5 groups of 1s. This still means 89,275. And so does this right here. All of this, it means the same number. We just represent it differently. So I know that's something similar. Can you think of how else they're similar? Like, what is 8 groups of 10,000? Well, if I count by 10,000s 8 times, I have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, 70,000, 80,000. So 8 groups of 10,000, it is 80,000. And if I have 9, right here, 9 groups of 1,000, okay, here's 9, here's my 9 groups, and each one is going to be 1,000. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000. So 9 groups of 1,000 is 9,000. These mean the same thing. We just represent them in a different way. So that's another thing that's similar. I want you to try to maybe put some of this in your own words too. Like, how could you say this without just copying Miss Ambreese's words? Remember, we're using complete sentences too. So you better not just put like 1 or 2 words. I want to see a whole sentence, capital letter, period, the whole thing. They are similar because they represent the same number and the same values. Okay, but I'm not done because it also says how are they different? Well, one uses the value of each digit and one uses how many groups of that place value there are. This shows that the 8 means 80,000, the 9 means 9,000, and 2 means 200, and 7 means 70, and 5 just means 5. But this one says there's 8 groups of 10,000s blocks, 9 groups of thousands blocks, 2 groups of flats, 7 groups of longs, and 5 groups of units. So they're different because they're different representations. One uses the values and one uses groups of. So I can say they are different because one uses the values of each digit, comma, but the other, it's okay if you go outside the lines, but the other uses groups of each place value. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see it. So they're similar because they represent the same number and the same values. We said 8 groups of 10,000 really just means 80,000. And same thing for 9 groups of 1,000. That really just means 9,000. And they both show this number here. But how are they different? They are different because one uses the values of each digit, expanded form. It shows the values of each digit. But the other, expanded notation, uses groups of each place value. Like what I showed you here. There is 8 groups of 10,000s, 9 groups of thousands, 2 groups of 100. So expanded notation just shows how many groups of each place value block there are. All right, way to go. You are done with homework number 2. Congratulations. Take a break.